Hello everyone, this is Tom Chamot from Palmer's Direct to You Market, and today we're going to carve your holiday turkey with you. First thing I like to do is pick out the cutlery you're going to use. There's a couple of options out there for you, and we'll just briefly discuss them. Number one is a carving knife, a slicing knife that has a clean, smooth edge on it. It's probably the best tool of choice. Some people have a carving knife that has a serrated blade. That tends to rip the meat up a little bit, best used for frozen goods and bread, so I would not choose this particular blade. Some also choose a French knife, classic style, very easy to handle, and certainly a good choice. You should always have a fork or some kind of pronged instrument to hold the turkey in its place when you're carving, and not too many tines on it to poke too many holes into it so it doesn't drip. I also have a steel to make sure that we have a nice clean, sharp edge. So what I like to do when I sharpen my knife is actually put a towel on the surface of your counter and then draw the blade down the steel just a few times to put a nice clean edge on the blade. Okay, now we're ready to carve. First step is to probably remove the leg and thigh section of the bird. So put a little bit of pressure on the leg just to hold it in place, and with your knife carve down through the skin until you reach where the joint of the thigh meets the bone. Once you reach that, you can stop carving. And what I like to do is push down until it exposes the knuckle of the joint. Then you can take your knife and carve around that knuckle just enough to remove the thigh section from the whole thing. That's a whole piece that you can do. Next is to remove the thigh section from the leg section. And I usually do that by just drawing the knife straight down, and it usually cuts right up to the knuckle itself again. Then with your fork, just kind of hold onto that thigh and press it sideways until it reveals that knuckle in there. Once again, place your knife in between the two, and that joint will completely come right off. Some people like to serve the whole leg. I think that's very nice, so we'll just place it right there. Others like to cut the thigh bone, but there is a bone in there. So we'll take our knife and carve one strip on one side of the bone and another on the other side to remove that entire bone. Then you'll have one nice big piece of thigh dark meat. At this point, it carves very nicely into small sections. Okay. Next we want to address the breast. So there's two ways to address carving the turkey breast. A lot of people like to carve at the table. It's got a very Norman Rockwell feel to it, and I think that's perfectly fine. So my advice is to come in on the bottom of the turkey parallel to the board and carve straight up until you hit that wishbone, which is right here, and then stop. Once you've stopped, then if you'd like to serve, you just simply carve downward in straight, even, thin strokes and serve that to your guests. Nice and thin is a great way to serve it, and you'll probably be able to get about 6 servings of turkey breast off of one side on this size turkey, which is about 12 to 14 pounds. So you can carve this all the way until you get to the sternum bone. Okay, you get the idea. Another method to look at is at the opposite side of the breast. So, for this particular operation, I'm going to look at yet one other cutting tool. Aha! A lot of people have these, and they save them for one time during the year, and that time happens to be Thanksgiving. It's a great tool to use when you're carving your bird. So we're going to come down straight in between the leg and the breast. And the same thing, you'll reach that breastbone or the small bone in between, and you'll pry it open like that. Then you can go back to slicing, just like that. Same thing, hold it up firmly, straight down, until you reach that bone. You'll hear that snap. Put the blade in between, and there you go. You'll separate those two. Okay? Nice piece. If, for instance, you would like to carve the leg instead of serve it whole, simply hold it by the top of the drumstick knuckle and carve straight down. You can do that all the way around the rest of the turkey leg, and it's a nice little selection of dark meat for your guests. Next is to do the breast. We're going to do the same action. We're going to cut sideways into it until you hit that wishbone, which runs on this side. And then, instead of simply slicing this way, we're going to try it from this top here, this ridge of the sternum bone, and go directly downward and sort of push the knife outward as it rides along the apex of the wishbone. Carefully peel it off, and then your breast comes off in one whole piece, which is very nice. Simple carving now. Makes for really beautiful service on the platter. Okay, just like that. And then the last section is that wing section. Quite simply, you do the same thing. You actually turn the breast or the whole carcass towards you and come down straight through. Until you hit that bone. Once you've hit that bone, then you literally pry it away from until that knuckle pops again. Put the knife in between there, and the wing section comes off as one piece. This is also nice to serve whole. I think that's very traditional. Ultimately, that's how to carve a turkey. We've got a lovely platter of meat to serve our guests. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.